Yeah, it's probably the last person you thought you would see. Hello, my name is not Alice or Retro, whatever the hell's going on. This is the ruler of Skull Spider. Was supposed to be here to see if Richard wanted to lend a hand with the whole rec rap situation in the Zeb Wells book. Yes, that thing is happening. Go to the, I guess, Cape Jewel video for that. Are you quite done yet? Yeah, about that. Stand back up! Stand back up! Yeah, so welcome back to part 2 of Retro's stupid little retrospective of Mila Jovovich's Resident Evil live-action series with her husband, Paul W.S. Anderson. And thankfully, we had a snag in most of the timing. You were under arrest! Yes, for skimming the last part, we get it. Most of these Umbrella employees apparently are big fans of them. And mostly Mila. Getting to the point, same story goes as Retro's last time. There was supposed to be childhood dumped law, but guess who nixed it? No, not you, copyright. These idiots. His law must not be contained! His law must not be Yeah, it's been like that basically all day today, and are you quite done yet? Yeah, kinda, sorta. What the hell is that? Future me? What the hell's going on? Less said the better. I'm probably back after, I guess, the next issue of, X-Force. Is that cool with you? Yeah, sure, whatever. Also, wow, you're already up to squashing your beef with Mila. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I totally did that during the Sinister timeline. Yeah, I know. Just get over with it. Alright. Portal out. Future portals. Oh, that's so great, Retro. How about you start telling me how this bloody law of yours works for once? Yeah. Never gonna happen. Anyway. Hey, everybody. This is Retrokid Reviews. Totally not using the bodies of a bunch of umbrella sentries. No, totally not. Oh, wow, is that a GoPro shot? Right. Afterlife, go now. Honestly, please. Well, the tidbit about this one, was basically, this is the first movie, Paul was back in the reins for the last 3 movies, and ironically is going to be the best out of the 3. We'll get to why in a minute, and yeah, more likely it's going to be, well, the soundtrack. A big retraction I forgot to mention when I did part 1, was the soundtrack for Apocalypse. Yeah, basically the end theme for that is now the current theme for Roderick Strong and AEW, and speaking as a still wrestling fan, that's pretty cool. Also, I'm very much aware that Ric Flair came back to do, I guess, the final run for Sting's contract for AEW as of this recording, so in case this is another 5 years into the future, yeah, I guess whatever remaining years Rick has, he wants to do it in a ring of some kind, and yeah, in case you could tell his last match, he was in his 80s, and you could definitely tell the guy definitely didn't want to be there anymore. And then there's the Flight from Hell stuff, and enough, though, get to Afterlife. The 4th movie! What is the deal with the 4th movie? Right, so remember last week when I mentioned that Paul had, like, really cool endings that he wrote down that he automatically undid? Yeah, this was kind of the start of it, but unfortunately, out of the 3, this is the one where he kind of loosens it the least. So, cool tidbit about this movie, behind the scenes wise, yeah, that multi-barrel, that's a regular double barrel. Sorry, I'm just coming off of my screening of the last movie, which we'll have a lot to say about final chapters, just saying. Yeah, that shot here with, Claire and, Alice over here, turns out, behind the scenes wise, she shot the camera and costed him a couple of mil, just for that camera alone. Oh, good, she's a klutz on sets, that's nice. Anything else? Retribution, go! Oh, well, yeah, aside from the Wesker fight from the previous movie, yeah, card of that, it's probably one of the few good action scenes. I know everyone years ago compared it to, basically, RE5, but the problem with that is Claire wasn't in that game, and, well, technically Sheva, but I don't know, it was the whole thing. Speaking of game characters got put under just to make Mila's Alice look good, yeah, what's to say about Retribution that hasn't already been said? Well, if you're not really a big fan of these movies and you want to sit through one of them with the least amount of retcons, surprisingly is Retribution. It's basically a standalone movie of its own if you get past, like, any and all previous movie information, and in a vacuum I could kind of see it working as a standalone movie. One problem, this is kind of the part where I have to bring the Ever Anderson situation in the room. Yeah, this is when Paul and Mila started having their first kid ever, and yeah, after that she was getting more mom vibes when she was playing this character going forward. Again, we'll get to that with the final chapter, but I'll say this, like I've been saying throughout this entire retrospective series, I am not here to do any criticisms of the family. I'm not doing any criticisms of the actor and actress in question when it comes to her kid and obviously me later in life. I'm just saying that this is how I felt when these movies were new at the time, and looking back now, I'm starting to see how I kind of acted the way I was off screen before having this YouTube channel, and that being, you were almost one of those idiots. You were really almost an anti-fan, seriously? Yeah, more or less. Look, this was a weird and destructive hill to die on, and I'm gonna be honest, I kind of let go of it when we get to the next movie. But before we get to that, let's get to Retribution. Essentially, yeah, it's basically a boss rush with a lot of established, I think, RE5 to RE6 monsters at the time. Ada, Barry, Leon got basically buried for not only her original characters, who are all the first few that got, I think the original squad that got killed in the first movie. Go to my review of the first 3 movies last week. And yeah, they all came back to basically pull the "we're all clones" stuff. So yeah, speaking of clones, what is your thoughts of all of it, Kane? Oh, we're not doing code names here. That's been basically my establishing point since last to go to the previous video. I don't know anymore. Yeah, what's to say about Retribution's clones? They got a weird clone factory. Like, seriously, Umbrella's budget is a lot better than I guess Miles ever could with me and Chasm over there. Wait, you're giving him his work name? He's got a weird condition. If I'm gonna talk crap about him, I have to use working names. No, that's a limbo thing, I guess. It sure as hell sounds like it. Anyway, final thoughts for both movies. Look, if they were new at the time, I would have been, I guess, less lenient or probably less angry and probably defend as much as I could with Afterlife. By the way, like I said, speaking of, Afterlife also has a really cool needle drop new metal track. Card of that, it's actually not bad. As for Retribution, yeah, story-wise, it's just basically Alice going through VR of like every version of previous sets and having a kid who actually learned American sign language, ASL, obviously, for this movie, and you could definitely tell they definitely tried. For the good guy clone versions of the original team, yeah, you can pretty much set to a watch to when Michelle Rodriguez's character is going down again, and Evil Her basically going down the same way, I guess, normal Her did, which is more zombies on her than usual. I think it was a Mila choice, surprisingly. So, yeah, that would be a slight 6.5 out of 10. Again, if this was new and I started my channel a lot earlier than usual. So, final chapter. Where to start? Oh, yeah, I forgot Jill was here, too. Yeah, long story short, she's clearly wearing the RE5 gear, and so much so that I'm gonna just switch back to this in case of TOS. Yeah, how do I say this nicely? Those suits Paul designed for his wife and team, yeah, you can definitely see a lot of stuff there of their bedroom life, getting to the point. So anyway, final chapter. I got a lot of baggage with this one. Not so much of the runtime, because it's like probably the shortest out of all of them. I think it made the least money out of all of them, but surprisingly, these all had like healthy like $30 to $20 million budgets. So basically, they made their money back over. Other than the stunt problems they had on set, yeah, I heard about that. I'll probably leave a wiki to that down below for the full details. So with that being said, I still mourn for that stunt actor's loss, just like Mila did, because I think the one that survived that incident, she visited the hospital the day of, and I guess they're in good speaking terms nowadays. I do have to check with their social medias on that, obviously, but drama aside, the plot of this one is basically what this franchise never really got around to doing in real life. Speed run to the finish, because that's basically the most Resident Evil thing, and the only thing accurately to the games they actually could do is speed run, so I gotta give it that at least. Most of the weapons and gear and even the timeline is retconned yet again. However, the ending to Retribution had the most weird ask for an entire audience to get behind. Was basically every character that was established and survived Retribution to band together to take down Red Queen once and for all in a last stand Washington thing, to only in the next movie say, surprise, it was really Wesker all along again, to the point of having the most obvious trap death. And another thing I think people forgot to mention when this movie was new at the time, this could be my recency bias of just sitting through the whole movie. Yeah, it turns out he had a dead man switch that just started the entire chain of events of taking down the Hive once again. Oh, speaking of the Hive, that was the base of operations in the first movie. Surprisingly survived, you know, the entire apocalypse and stuff like that. This is where most of the real writing plot holes kind of come in. You're telling me that Umbrella, a multi-billion-dollar or corporation, wants to start an apocalypse? No, corporations even like nowadays rather have a dystopian future instead of a, apocalyptic one. Getting my politics out of the way, yeah, where do I start with Mila on the stunts on this one and the action all around? It is, again, mostly a speed run. You can definitely tell that their weird trinity of bitches. Yeah, I had to said something about this. It's weird that they're overhyping her law, which was just basically Red Queen, now played by her real-life daughter, Ever Anderson. Yeah, that's pretty much the only tidbit about this, other than the stuntman accidents ever showed up to basically be the Red Queen for the final time for this franchise. And yeah, you could tell there have been like almost decades in between, and they had to basically switch kids in between each entry. It's a whole thing. It's a can of worms I don't want to get to talking about as far as this video goes. However, the real reason why I never really did a proper review, other than that Jason video a few years back, Card 2, much like I said, probably when that was new, I actually saw Mila herself in Comic-Con promoting this movie with now my late father. So it's kind of weird coming back to this movie after all this time, knowing everyone's ask of what was it like watching this early trailers of it. It was the same kind of marketing you were seeing at the time, so there was really nothing special there. But the fact that I got to see her very far from a distance, this was in Madison Square Garden, the MSG Arena, so it wasn't like an actual intimate, panel kind of thing. But, yeah, to see her in person was kind of my highlight, as weird as this rivalry went with me. And basically from that movie on, I kind of stopped, doing the whole parasocial crazy dance with her, because, yeah, I kept it, thankfully, offline and didn't throw a mean comment or anything. I just knew enough to basically, give her space, and sometimes it works out, sometimes she quietly doesn't talk about the writer's strike, even though her husband probably got a deal from the director's strike. It's a balance, in case you could tell, as far as my, thought process with her career going forward. And there was a lot I cut as far as this review goes. I was going to talk more about, like, her early work. I was going to talk a lot about, like, I don't know, something I'm going to do next week. Wait, you're seriously going to do it? Yeah, as the final, video, or bonus review for this series, I don't have the wallpaper, so you have to trust me. You're going to do the Fifth Element, aren't you? Yep, pretty much. Final cards here to the retro trailer to that, and, yeah, it's probably the nicest way of me saying nice to this franchise. Like, again, like I said throughout these last two videos, please go to Matt Draper's retrospective. He's got more details about this and pretty much the budget of, like, the whole franchise. Like, collectively, all 6 movies basically got 1.6 bill. I don't know how it is nowadays, I guess with, inflation and stuff like that. That being said, I don't know, I mean, now that this is over, now that I've sat through most of it, the first, sorry to say, 5 out of the 6 I had watched from memory, and now sitting through a full review of just the original, full thoughts of the final chapter. I don't know, it's a weird, strange time in my teenhood to now be in my early 30s to, I don't know, walk out of this better than I did when I started watching this all these years ago. So to Mila and her team, and to everyone who were in Constant and Davis Film, and basically everyone in Sony, I'll still say this, it's not the games, but you tried something. It made money for 6 movies till we all basically realized this was not going to be what it was, but somebody likes it out there, and sorry it's not me, but if it's you out there, then hey man, I get it. I really do. So, being introspective aside, and a lot of security detail that we're going to figure out on the way back, go to a lecture over here. Just Daredevil. I still think Matt is bullshitting about his priesthood. Yeah, no, he's not. I went to St. Nicholas. It's, he's legit. He's definitely of the faith. Then what about my marriage? I don't know. Go to, I guess, Retro also trying to figure this out as well. Yeah, I don't even know how to do it. Oh, you have to get me back into that church. Okay, one thing at a time. To his end cards, to basically his previous video, which was obviously this retrospective, and obviously to the Critical Role shorts, and you are gonna help me with the rec rap problem next week, right? After the Fifth Element review, definitely, Kane, definitely. Yeah, he's totally not gonna do it. Anyway, that's his review, and yeah, I just wanted to come here and help out Ben, but I guess I had to do something else. The Real Nerf Skull Spider saying, nice for you to finally exercise the demons of your teenhood. Wasn't actually exercise the demons of your 20s? I don't know, wait till I'm 40. Oh, like hell we are!